Today's story is out of the Walt Disney's Storyland book. And today's story is called Pilgrim's Party. "Let's have a real New England Thanksgiving dinner," suggested Minnie. "Splendid!" Mickey exclaimed. "Turkey and cranberry sauce and pumpkin pie. It makes me hungry just to think of it." As they drove through the states of Connecticut and Massachusetts, yellow pumpkins lay all over the ground, shocks of corn that looked like Indian teepees. "They're just ready for pumpkin pies," said Minnie with delight. Everywhere that Minnie went in the New England, she asked the same question. "What will be the best place for Thanksgiving dinner? Which states make the best pies?" Whether she was on the coast of Maine or in the farming country of New Hampshire, hills of Massachusetts, the answer was always the same. "You better stay right here. We make the best pies." It was hard to decide what to do until Mickey had a good idea. "Let's go to Plymouth and have Thanksgiving where the first one was held," he suggested. "Just the thing," the others agreed. So Mickey turned the car toward Plymouth. The last red and yellow leaves were falling from the sugar maples. The harvests were in and winter was coming upon the land. There was a frosty crispness in the air. The road led through the city of Boston, and Mickey stopped to see the sights of the town. The streets in the old part of the city were very narrow. Mickey had trouble in driving through them, but he found the old northern church where Paul Revere had seen the lantern. And they saw Boston Common and the Bunker Hill Monument. Then they left the city behind and drove through Massachusetts. Minnie was very much surprised to see big shipyards where huge ships were being built. She was amazed to see big cotton mills and shoe factories. "Why, I thought that the only boat the Pilgrims had was the Mayflower," she said. "I thought the Pilgrims had to spin their own thread and make their own shoes. That's what the history books say." "That was a long time ago," Mickey explained. "There have been a great many changes around here since the Pilgrims came." It was too much for Minnie to understand, so Mickey changed the subject. "But you're gonna see just how the Pilgrims lived and how they dressed. Every year in Plymouth, the people dressed up like the Pilgrims and have a big dinner. We're invited. Yay!" "May we dress up?" asked Minnie. "Yes, we may," said Mickey. "Who do you want to be?" Minnie decided to be Priscilla, and Mickey decided to go to the Thanksgiving dinner as Elder Brewster. Donald could not make up his mind whether to be Massasoit or Miles Standish. It was growing cold, so he decided to be Miles Standish. "What can Pluto be?" asked Minnie. "I've heard that there was a dog on the Mayflower," Mickey replied. "It was a spaniel. Let Pluto be the spaniel of old Plymouth. Yay!" On Thanksgiving morning, Mickey and Minnie and Donald, with Pluto behind them, marched with the other Pilgrims to the big hall. The room was beautifully decorated with colored leaves, corn stalks, and pumpkins. A delicious odor of roasting turkey filled the air. Pluto began to sniff much too loudly, but just then a band of Indian braves came into the room. They had feathers in their hair and paint on their bronze faces. Pluto disappeared under the table. He began to bark. arf, 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 in a loud barking. They're only make-believe Indians who don't mind the cold, whispered Donald in a too loud voice. If you don't behave, you'll be going outside, warned Mickey. Pluto quieted down, but Mickey sat down near him. All the people were delighted to see Mickey and Minnie and Donald. They gave the travelers a warm welcome. Then in came one of the Pilgrim mothers. She was carrying a big turkey, and she put it down in front of Mickey. She asked him to carve. Mickey looked at the turkey doubtfully. It was very big. He took up the carving knife. Don't cut yourself, Minnie warned. Mickey couldn't reach the turkey, so he had to stand up on his chair. As he did, Pluto put his head out from under the table and began to sniff loudly. Mickey had tried to kick Pluto and put the fork into the turkey. At the same time, his hand slipped. The turkey shot off the table and onto the floor. Ah! Oh, I'm so sorry, cried Mickey, but Pluto was not sorry. In an instant, he had the turkey in his mouth and was rushing headlong out to the open door. Something yummy in his tummy. Catch him, shouted Mickey as he jumped from the chair and darted after Pluto. The Indians leaped forward, but Pluto dodged between their bare legs. Out into the street he ran with Mickey and the red man after him. Pluto glanced back once and saw them. Now the Indians were good runners, but they could not catch Pluto. At last they were tired out and they stopped. Mickey joined them. They turned back toward the hall. I can't tell you how ashamed I am of Pluto, said Mickey, but the Pilgrim mothers assured him that there were plenty more turkeys in the kitchen. Let Donald carve the next one, suggested Mickey. Donald rose in his place where the turkey was brought in. He made a speech, and everyone clapped and cheered. Then he carved the turkey with his sword. When the day was over, Minnie sighed with pleasure. The Pilgrims are charming people, she said. I thought they were very stiff and sober. They're not. They're lots of fun. The history books had everything wrong again. It was late in the evening before Mickey and Donald found Pluto. He was curled up beside Plymouth Rock, sound asleep. The day after Thanksgiving, Mickey, Minnie, and Donald and Pluto started south. As they went through Rhode Island, the factories in and around Providence were as busy as they could be, but all the summer homes were closed. Snow had already been drifting across the tobacco fields in the Connecticut Valley. Don't you think we ought to see the Yale University before we leave New England? Asked Mickey. But Donald had never done very well in school. He couldn't spell. He thought it best to keep away from the colleges. They crossed the Hudson River and drove across the state of New Jersey. There are a great many factories and homes and market gardens in New Jersey, said Mickey. Then their road took them through the states of Delaware and Maryland. They stopped to visit the shipyards at Wilmington and Baltimore. Minnie christened a ship while she was in Baltimore. She meant to name it the Minnie, but Donald whispered, "Ha ha," right after it. So the boat was named the Minnie Ha Ha by mistake. Oh, Minnie was furious, but Mickey comforted her. "Minnie Ha Ha is a nice name anyway," He said, "You know, it was the name of a beautiful Indian maiden, so don't you mind." Well, that's it for today. We'll see you next time.